Hello guys and welcome to my round 2 tips volleys on the ball tips video. Before we start, I just want to mention thanks for supporting my channel. My channel is now at its highest ever point with 40 subscribers and it's been getting lots of views recently, and I'm trying to make the quality of the videos as good as they can be. So thanks for supporting me. Last week I got 6 out of 9 tips, not a bad effort. And that's with tipping upset, tipping Fremantle to beat Brisbane. Those calls 2 out of 9, not a good week. So first off, we start with the Thursday night game, MCG 7:30pm, St Kilda Collingwood. Now this is a bit of a no-brainer. St Kilda last week lost to Geelong by 8 points, 0-1. And Collingwood lost to Sydney by 33 points last week, 0-2, so they really need a win. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to see them making top 4 after starting 0-3. But I think my Saints are going to be no match to the Pies, and I think the Pies should easily run over the top of the Saints to win comfortably by 66 points. With my honest call that St Kilda kicked less than 60 points, which, Collingwood will just consume us and restrict us. Adelaide Oval, 7:40pm Friday, Adelaide Geelong. Adelaide last week lost to Gold Coast in a tight loss by 6 points. They didn't deserve to win. They were down by 30 points at three-quarter time. Geelong recorded a win over St Kilda at GMHBA by 8, so expected win, but it was good. They had a late collapse at the end, but fought back and won by 8. This will be interesting, but Adelaide, we saw last year, they're hard to beat at the Adelaide Oval, and they're looking as good as Geelong this season, so I'm tipping them by 23. With my eyes called Jordan Dawson gets 120 Supercoach. Had a good first game, and I feel like he's going to have an amazing season again this year. North Melbourne Fremantle, Marvel Stadium, 1:45pm Saturday. North Melbourne lost to GWS by 39 last week, but they showed some promising signs. Made debuts of Toby Pink, Zane Dersma. Well, Toby Pink previously was on the Swans list, and Colby McKercher. Two really promising players for them. So it wasn't the worst result. Fremantle, good win over Brisbane. They did have some injury troubles though. Oscar McDonald and Corey Wagner both going to be out Corey Wagner got knocked out, so he'll be out for at least 2 weeks, but Oscar McDonald hyperextended the knee and it didn't look very good. So Fremantle will be going in wounded into this one, and I'm going to tip the upset. I'm going to tip North Melbourne by 7 with my Ollie's call that Brennan Cox has 10 plus marks. He does love a couple of marks in a game, and the last game he played at Marvel, I can remember, against the Saints, he took 20 marks. Hawthorn Melbourne, MCG, 4:35pm Saturday. Hawthorn lost last week to Essendon. They were in it for the first 3 quarters. Essendon just run over the top of them, but Massimo D'Ambrosio had a really promising game. That's good to see for him. Melbourne, 1-1 last week, beat the Bulldogs comfortably in the end by 45 points. Was expected, but it was a good win. I'm going to tip Melbourne by 15 with my Ollie's call. Massimo D'Ambrosio gets at least 1 coach's vote, so he gets on the board. Sydney Essendon, this should be one of the better games in the round. Sydney, it's at the SCG. Sydney record 2-0. Last week defeated Collingwood by 33. Really good game from them. Collingwood were out of it basically from half time. Essendon record 1-0. Last week defeated Hawthorn by 24. It was an expected win, but still a good way to start the season. Tip is Sydney by 32 with my Ollie's called Jake Stringer kicks 3 plus goals. He had a really good game last week, so if you can find some consistency, it'll be good for them. Bulldogs Suns, My Stadium, 1pm Sunday. Bulldogs 0-1, lost to Melbourne by 45. Was disappointing. They were in it for most of the game, but then final quarter couldn't find any momentum and ended up losing by a fair bit. Gold Coast, they've had an amazing start, 2-0. Good win over Adelaide. That final quarter was a bit nervous, given they were up by 30 points at three-quarter time or so, but they are really going really well. I'm going to tip Gold Coast by 11 at Mars, and yeah, I think they will get the job done. Bulldogs, don't know what this year's going to hold for them, but Gold Coast looking good. They've got Anderson, Flanders, Rao, Lukosius. They've got such an exciting midfield and forward line. And Ollie's call is Bulldogs lead at half time. Games at Mars have lots of lead changes given it's always very windy, so I reckon the Bulldogs will lead at half time, but then Suns will get the momentum with the wind and keep going. MCG 4pm Sunday, Richmond Port Adelaide. This should be a pretty good game, but I feel like Port Adelaide do get the chocolates. Richmond record 0-2, lost to Carlton by 5. Was actually a pretty exciting performance apart from that last 10 minutes or so. Suffered a few injuries as well. Josh Gibcus suffered an ACL injury in his second game back after being out all last year, so fingers crossed for him. That's the last bad injury he'll ever have. And Port Adelaide win over West Coast at Adelaide Oval was very expected. Didn't expect anything different. And I think Port Adelaide will do the job comfortably by 43, with my Ollie's call that Richmond kick more goals than behinds. West Coast versus GWS 6:50pm Sunday at Optus Stadium. Now, West Coast actually got up in this fixture last year, but GWS, they had an outstanding year last year and have already beat Collingwood this year. And North Melbourne was actually not the worst performance. North Melbourne just played really well, but Jesse Hogan is in a return to form, kicking 6 last week, showing signs of promise that he was also showed at the Demons and Dockers. West Coast lost by 50, expected, but Harley Reid showed some promising signs. Can he be their saviour this season? This is a no-brainer. I'm tipping GWS by 82, with my Ollie's call GWS lead at half-time. The buys this week, because of opening round over the next couple of weeks, there'll be some buys. Carlton and Brisbane, so week off for them. Thanks for watching. Ollie's on the ball, and see you next week for my tips video. Bye.